Whoa, man, that intro never gets old, baby. Never gets old. Hey, man, let's go ahead and bring in the man, the myth. He's another legend. What's going on, Ryan?
What's up, Dave? How you doing?
I'm grinding. I'm hustling. I'm loving life. You know what I mean? I'm doing my thing. How about you?
I'm doing good. I have no complaints. And I tell you what, that intro sounds really good. I got this new set of speakers hooked up. Got a nice little bass hit there. Ooh, intro was rocking this morning.
When that bass hits. Okay. All right. Can I still do that? Can I still get down? You know?
Yeah, you
Drop
got
that
it.
bass. All right, I got it. I still got it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I would
Bring
look
that
twice
shit
as
back.
loud.
All right. So, today we're going to be doing some, after we've dropped the bass, we're going to be dropping some AI on that booty, all of y'all's booty out there. Let's talk about it, man. Let's get into it. Let's jump right in head first into the deep end and share some conversations, share some screens, and tell the people what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, let's do it. So just last week, not long ago at all, ChatGPT updated their image generation stuff. So previously you had the DALL-E platform is what was integrated, and that's how it would generate pictures. And it wasn't very good. It was like good at like artist looking stuff, like drawings type of stuff, but not really much else better than that. And I'm sure some of us have seen like you get pictures of people with like 10 fingers and letters would never be spelled right. And they've leveled all that stuff up. So it's gotten a whole lot better. So I was messing around with it this morning and I actually got it to create some moderately quite decent stuff. I say moderately quite decent just because it's not perfect.
Quite a description. Moderately quite decent. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a whole lot better than it was by a long shot. So this is, you do have to have the plus version, so the $20 a month, whatever, to do this. So it's not
upgrade
yet, but you got to upgrade. If you haven't upgraded this yet, what are you doing? But if you come in here and you hit these three little dots before you start talking, and then you hit create image and see it says updated right there, you should be able to hit that and then type your prompt in, and it'll give you this little create image thing, and then you can get a picture out of it. So what I told it to do, and you want to be as specific as you can with these. So just like when you're talking to it normally. So create image. And I said a billboard alongside a busy highway with a city in the background featuring large skyscrapers. One of the buildings has glass windows all the way to the top. On the billboard, it reads, "Start your business today," in the headline using bold sans serif font. And the tagline is, for anyone who wants to start an online business but has no idea where to begin, about half the size of the main headline. The background of the billboard has a photo of a man in a suit wearing sunglasses, just showing from the chest up and arms crossed. The remaining background has a gradient of black and yellow with dots in the center separation. Separating the two colors. Supposed to see separating, but I said separation. And then it worked for a minute, and then this is what I got. So it actually looks pretty good, honestly. It's exactly what I asked for. I mean, it's got the words are all spelled right. They're not all messed up. You got the dude here with the glasses and the arms crossed, and the background's kind of better than I was envisioning in my head. I didn't ask for this yellow bit, but it did that anyway. And so, I mean, you could probably pass that as a real billboard, honestly. I mean, that's something you could post a picture of, and that's an interesting way to advertise, because you can take this, a lot of us, we just take a picture and throw some text over it with the app. You can now generate something like this to share your message with your text, and it's burned right into the image. And it's more engaging that way. We're seeing that all the time. We see people using paper to write their words on, and then they hold the paper up, or they're using their phone to put text on it, and then they zoom into the phone. You see the text on the phone screen. So people are coming up with more creative ways to share text words, messages that way. And this is, in my opinion, a really creative way to do it. And now, how hard would it be to make that image manually, right? First off, you'd have to find this picture, and then you'd have to kind of go into Canva and like perfectly place everything on top of this. I suppose you could put a frame over it and then drag it in with a frame, but it's still a lot more time consuming, and it's hard, and it's probably not going to look as good unless you're some kind of graphics designer. Whereas you can come in and just tell ChatGPT what you want, and then it just makes it for you. So that to me is really, really cool. There's not a way to do this on video yet, but you could totally upload that image as a reel and just put a caption on there. And then that's your post. I mean, this is just one iteration. I got more a little bit further down, but this, I mean, is really, really cool in my opinion.
It is, man. And, I saw a lot of posts all over social media yesterday from, people who are saying, a lot of graphic designers are going to be losing their jobs. And now you see why. And so, it's about adapting. This economy, this marketplace that we're in right now, it's evolving, it's changing. A lot of you have sort of understood how technology or medicine, specifically medicine, has evolved so fast over the past few years. We're coming out with different things to heal and cure various ailments. Of course, not the big and important ones yet. Who knows why, right? We all probably have our theories, but this is technology. This is disruption happening right in front of your faces, and it's both a beautiful and a scary thing. The question is how do you use it to leverage? How do you use it to your advantage? And it's really about learning. They've made it so easy for us here to be able to just describe what we want. And so, communicating, being clear, being specific, being willing to kind of go back and forth with the tool, with the robot, to iterate and iterate and iterate until you get what you want. Of course, this was a first draft. And so any other examples? And obviously, I want people to go and try this today. And whether you have the free version or whether you have the the upgraded version, it's I believe it comes with both, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, we're both on the upgrade, but I believe it probably comes with the free version as well. We need an affiliate link for ChatGPT, by the way. Why the hell they have not released probably because they don't need to. So many people are flooding into this right now, but there will be a time, I'm sure, in the future where the AI industry, and it is becoming a little bit more competitive, right? There's, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know, X, formerly known as Twitter, also has an AI tool like ChatGPT. I believe it's called Grok or Gronk. Google is moving in that direction. Certainly Facebook is also, if you just use their search bar, where you would normally search, I believe, if I'm describing it right. Of course, I've used it before. Well, it's Ask Meta AI, right? So it's called Llama, and they're constantly, if you just click on your search bar, it basically says Ask Meta AI or search. So if you just write in your search bar of Facebook, type something in, it also gives you the ability to be able to get, AI answers for things. All of these platforms, of course, what came out of China a couple of weeks ago, I forget what it's called. There's Claude. There's several different tools that are coming out. And as Bubba Simpson says, it's already competitive. And so if you guys aren't using this is just one more reason to get in there and start playing around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's integrating into everything, even like when we do our Google Meet calls, right? There's Gemini automatically generating notes. Before that, I used to spend a lot of time doing notes. I mean, I would be jotting into a notebook during the meeting, and I would be, writing everything up and then crafting that into what's important and what's not. And hopefully I didn't miss anything, or hopefully I didn't become distracted taking the notes and then miss something important in the call. Right. And now it just takes that recording and it automatically generates these beautiful notes that covers everything. And you don't even have to worry about it. You just sit there and, you pay attention to the meeting you're on, and Gemini is making the notes for you. So it's even integrated, into there. it's making life a whole lot easier in a lot of ways.
One more thing before
yeah.
you continue on here is that Tasha made a great point. People aren't searching SEO much anymore. It's mainly AI now. And SEO, search engine optimization, that was all about Google, the 800-pound gorilla. And Google, everybody had to go through Google to get any information. It was the modern day encyclopedia, as well as the modern day white and yellow pages. It was just the modern day. Everybody went through Google. They dominated the majority of email users and accounts. Most people, not everybody. I know you guys love your Roadrunners and your old Yahoos and MSNs, and you see a couple Hotmails and a couple of Lives here and there. But for the most part, people have at least, even if you do use another primary, a lot of people also have a Gmail. So the bottom line was you had to go through Google, the big bad Goog. And they, billions and billions of dollars they made each year from advertising, from people, from businesses putting their ads right there. Those top three answers were usually ads. Even though when you search something, it was hard to tell, and a lot of people didn't realize that those were paid spots to become first, second, and third on Google. And then, of course, the other rankings for whatever keyword or search term or search phrase you punched into Google, that would be determined based on what Google thought was important. And people could game that system, in various ways. Even fake news would get published, fake news articles, just because they were on a large kind of news site or something that got a lot of traffic or was really old. And so that's changed, man. That's changed. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, Google is obviously needing to compete now in other ways. It's needing to compete through phones and hardware. It's needing to compete through all of the different other services that they provide, and they do provide a lot of services. They're also going to compete in their, as you said, they're coming up with their own AI tool. It's called Gemini, I believe. But I can tell you guys that my Google searches have dramatically dropped off a cliff. Like, I'm no longer going to Google. And the truth of the matter is the way that I've seen Google index and rank stuff under my own search terms and for my business and my name and things of that nature, I realize it's all bullshit. It's all gamed. It's not, I mean, they're publishing articles just from dudes' blogs who said that they reviewed our products when they really didn't. And I can look in our system and see if they've got an account, and they don't. And so all of this stuff that you see on Google, a lot of these sites that they're ranking are just crap sites that are clickbait, that they're literally just trying to ride the coattails of popular people's names and popular companies in search terms that are kind of trending. And they're not it's not legitimate information. And so people go and they do research on you or your company or your product or whatever, but they're just basically a bunch of blogs that somebody wrote at pretending like they reviewed the product are popping up, and people are making decisions or being influenced by that. That shit's going to be old real soon. And if you've ever read one of those blogs, those review blogs about any product or service that you're buying, it was probably just an affiliate marketer or some sort of person that was selling their own product or their own course or something, again, trying to ride the coattails of somebody who's got a popular name and got a trending company. And so you have to kind of understand also from a consumer standpoint, get up on the game, be able to educate your audience, be able to educate your consumers. Okay. I hope everybody's hearing me clearly. You have to be able to educate your consumers, your followers, your audience about what the hell is happening out on the internet, because things are changing so fast. It's just like a doctor being able to educate their patients on what's real and what's not, because they see so much shit on Facebook and on the internet that when they come in, it's time to actually get a professional opinion. So you all need to be that professional opinion for consumers. This is an analogy I'm using. Of course, you're not giving medical advice. You're giving advice to consumers who are just simply trying to decide if they should buy a book or a course to upgrade the skills in their life. And so many people think about this for a second. People have thought or maybe seen an ad or a video, say, for example, about one of our courses or our challenge or our blueprints or something, then went and read some article from some D-bag who's just trying to steal traffic, who knows nothing about our company, nothing about our education, nothing about all of the success stories and people who have changed their life from these skills and this information. And they read that article, and then they go and they do something stupid. They don't move forward. Maybe they buy something that this other person is selling just because they made a good case based on embellishment or lies, as if they've actually reviewed our education. And it's altered the course of their life because they chose to Google it and read some bozo's blog post pretending like he reviewed something. I saw this all the way up on national news stories last year. Some news organization interviewed some so-called expert who had reviewed our course. We went and looked at our system. The guy hadn't even logged in, hadn't even actually reviewed our stuff. So, I mean, this is happening on all kinds of levels, folks. And so what is my point here? Thank you for bringing that up, Tasha, because my point is that it's your job to educate people. It's your job. You are ChatGPT for people. Because although ChatGPT can give people sort of intellectual answers, it can't give people experience. You have to give them your experience, and you have to let them know that you have actual experience. Yeah, this is education. What I'm saying right now is real education. It's helping you to be a better marketer and a better business owner because I'm reminding you that the responsibility is on you to help people through this technology transition. And it is big, it is massive, it is important, and things are changing right in front of people's eyes. This is one of the reasons why we're talking about AI and having these long form, live, completely unedited, totally transparent conversations. There's no plan here. There's no agenda here. We don't have a script that we're going off of. We're just giving you real, raw experience so you know what your job is as a business owner. And it is to educate your consumers and your followers and your audience in the same way that we're doing with you right now.
Yeah, and talk about not a better way to stand out. I mean, when you have a whole bunch of people, like a whole mess of them, just making a bunch of noise, all jumping on a bandwagon, saying the same shit, and none of them even know what they're talking about, right? It all sounds the same. None of it's really, maybe some of them make a good case like you were talking about, but then when you're out there and you're actually doing, like you're saying, talking about real stuff, sharing real manufactured, accurate, educated information, right? Showcasing experience that you have, even if it's just proof that you bought a product, right? Proof that you've used a product and this is what it taught me, or proof that I'm doing this thing based on what I was taught here and nobody else has that. It makes you stand out a whole lot more than everybody else who's making noise. So then maybe that's not the stuff that goes viral, right? Just like with blogging. One of the things I struggled with so much when I was doing my blog, which is why ultimately I put it on the back burners, because like we were talking about, all these people making these articles and reviewing stuff and sharing information about things they didn't even buy, things they know nothing about, but it gets a lot of searches in the keyword explorer, so I have to make sure I'm writing about this. Well, they didn't even do the due diligence. And a lot of these blogging courses, they advertise, write an article in 2 hours, write 10 articles a day. And It's just about pumping out this crap. And that's where I had such a hard time, because yeah, you could write, when you get good in using AI, you can write an article in under an hour. But by the time you do the due diligence, weeks have passed, right? You've got to go in and actually, at the very least, if we're talking about some kind of a software, maybe create a trial, test it out, use all the features, form an actual opinion if you want to compare it to something else or do something like that. And I didn't, having the time for that is hard, right? And your competition, they're just making stuff up. They're either regurgitating something somebody else said, or they're just writing based on a bunch of other Google reviews, right? They're literally taking the top 5 articles, putting them in AI, rewriting the information and publishing it. And sure, while you can get to the top of Google and make sales that way, that'll work. But where I struggled with it was just the dishonesty that came with that. I'm not actually sharing my opinion. Like if I were to get questioned about that in person, somebody were to say, yeah, you wrote this article about us. Tell us more about your experience. I can't, right? I don't know anything about it. Right. And that's really what all these other people are doing. And the consumer can pick up on that. Right now, I've got a little bit more of a trained eye because I've spent so many years going through some of this stuff and just researching and trying to learn as much as I can. To the average person, they might not notice as much, but they still do. Right? Especially with the algorithms and the way they work. You see one thing, you're going to see 100 more, right? So if everybody sounds exactly the same, there's no way you're going to stand out. But if you come in, like Dave's saying, and just be super honest and authentic and share based on your experience, share your stories and stories that are connected with these products you're using and these things you're doing, you're going to stand out. You're not going to have a problem standing out. And the people who you're going to stand out to are the people that are wondering, right? Is this something that I actually want to do? Or is this something I can trust? Or is this something that's going to be a good fit for me? They're all of a sudden going to have this person that stands out way more than everybody else that's able to make a better case for that person.
Yeah. And I think that even with the side hustle videos that have become popular and a lot of people do, it's like, I really don't have an issue with any type of content as long as it's not bullshit. As long as it's not total, absolute bullshit. If it is bullshit, I don't care if you're talking straight to camera and you're on camera and you're telling your life story. If you're bullshitting, then that's also uncool. I think there's a couple of different types of content that you can create nowadays. And what I want and what I think everybody wants, even those who are like regulating us, and we have regulation in many different ways. The internet does, and business owners. We have it from government agencies. We have it from the social media platforms themselves. Right? You guys have been regulated before. If your account's been limited, or you've lost an account, or right. So it's about just being kind of honest and transparent. And if you're going to create a video about some sort of a side hustle, for example, actually giving it an effort, a try, doing some going through it, looking at it. If you've not done it, saying that. And then if you're just creating AI content, which there's some apps and a lot of things that we're testing in the background as well. We're trying everything. We're looking at everything out here, not only for our own marketing, but also for our community. It's like if you're creating videos that are based on AI, or that AI, you have an avatar or something like that, then, it's important to somehow disclose that, whether it be in your making the whole page about that, or and obviously it's going to be obvious. Ryan, one of the examples that I'm talking about is just that tool that we were looking at just this morning. It creates AI created videos for you, and there's many of these apps out there where you're essentially and you showed me that funny one last week. We won't go too much into detail because it was pretty vulgar.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of channels that are clearly taking funny topics and turning them into almost cartoons, right? Like, where you can take yourself, like there's apps that you can take yourself and turn yourself into a, almost like a cartoon superhero, and like be like up in the North Pole, or be like out in the Amazon jungle doing stuff. And there's people who are using AI. Probably one of the more creative ones that I saw was a channel that was an Instagram page that was spreading the message of God using the power of AI. And they were essentially recreating a lot of the stories and imagery as they understood it, by using AI to create graphics for what we only have words for.
Wow.
But the page clearly just said right in the topic, or right in the bio up top, that, spreading the message of Jesus in God, I'm butchering it a little bit, through the power of AI. And so, again, a lot of the content was really interesting, and it was very, very graphic, not violent, but just like fire and dragons and, all this kind of stuff. And you can imagine all of the different ways. You can essentially create a Harry Potter, or what was the other really popular, another dragons sort of show,
like Lord of the Rings, maybe.
Lord of the Rings. You could also sort of create almost Lord of the Rings style videos now with AI, and that's going to be obvious that those are not real human beings, clearly. But my point here is that that is another type or style of content. Another style of content that you can create and will be able to create is, you're going to be able to create, and you already can, the avatars are just getting better and better, your own avatar, your own hologram, essentially speaking to the camera. You give it the script, it recreates your voice, and you deliver the message without needing to be on camera. That is evolving very fast. And so there's going to be lots of different ways for all of us to be able to share content, whether it be on camera, faceless, whatever. I always believe, and I'm going to continue to double down, and this is maybe one of my sort of hidden messages today for all of you, that, again, as we continue to introduce these tools and talk about these tools and show you the power of these tools, I do believe they make us dumber. Okay. I do believe and Ryan and I experienced this just last week, right? We're like in the studio, we're scripting, we're using AI to help with things. And it's like, we just became so tired one day that it was just like, we couldn't think. We were like, man, without this damn AI thing, it's like, I forgot what the hell I'm even doing or what I'm supposed to be writing, because I was leaning on it so much. And so I say that to say that I think it's really important for us to continue to work on our communication skills, and especially for those of you. And I just want to give you a dose of your own medicine here. A lot of the millennials and boomers in the house. Now, don't say it ain't so, JoJo from Kokomo, that you, and I know you do, and now you've got me doing it too, talking about the younger generations and how they just stare at iPads and screens and can't look at make any eye contact and actually have a legitimate conversation. You've said it, don't lie, you have. You've made fun of little kids and how they can't talk anymore and don't have manners. Haven't you? Admit it. Go right to the comment box right now and don't lie. Well, here's the reason why I bring that up is because now that AI is here, what are you doing? What am I doing? We're going right to the damn screen and tell me what to post. Tell me how to think, right? So, and that's okay. We got to just make sure we're not, what do they say? The pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
My point here is in the same way that it's important for us to make sure our kids have those social skills and know how to talk and know how to make eye contact and know how to introduce themselves. We also need to, I'm going to keep doubling down on this, keep practicing actually speaking on camera, actually learning how to communicate, learning how to introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Dave. Hi, I'm on video here. I'm a real person. Thank you for all the honesty, because y'all know that I'm right. And it's important for us to maintain those kind of human skills, even as all of these AI tools are kind of coming out. So anyways, take us home. Anything else you want to show us here for today, my brother?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple more things, but I mean, this went in a direction that was way more powerful than anything I could pull up on my screen over here. So, I mean, that was a pretty solid couple of points made, life-changing points made. And and I've even me and my wife, we've talked about this before when we've talked about having kids and doing all that stuff. It's like I was watching an interesting interview the other day, just passively in the background, and then it caught my attention to look at it because they started talking about AI, and they were actually talking about kids in college using AI to cheat on their exams and trying to figure out how are they going to stop the AI and how they're going to get kids to pay attention and use their brains. And half of me is like, this stuff's going in such a powerful direction that it's almost better off just in fact, I believe you are better off. Just forget about trying to make them not cheat. Let's teach them how to use it. Teach them how to embrace it, incorporate it into their everyday lives. And we need to start with some of these teachers because they're not getting it yet. So we need to work that into like school curriculums because I think it's going to speed the world up so fast. But anyway, I'm going to get on a soapbox here, but
yeah, embrace it. Teach them how to cheat ethically. Right? The truth is that cheating is not even relevant anymore. Like unless you're legit, the only legitimate cheat is that I still kind of think is a cheat is like the foot wedge in golf, where you your ball lands in the rocks and you give it the old foot wedge and then you act like you didn't give it the foot wedge. The other legitimate cheat, and then you don't give yourself that extra stroke, right? If you give yourself the stroke, then that's fine. The point or the swing, they call it a stroke in golf, that's fine. Now, also, if I'm sitting in a classroom and, Sally is, and I'm looking at her work legitimately. But, now it's like, again, to your point, we do have this thing at our fingertips. Now, yes, you could do like we've always done with calculators. And I think that this is like taking it back to the old school is probably the best way to go about it. It's like, okay, leave your phones in the basket. To test, no phones in the classroom, no Chat GPT or no AI, no Claude, no this, no that, right? You got to just sit there and take the damn test with your own brain. But you're right, at home, and this was already a huge phenomenon before AI came along, it was hire a teacher to do your homework for you. These sites were extraordinarily popular where you would just go hire somebody to do your homework for you. Now you don't need to. You just use AI. So I can imagine a lot of those sites, just like many other sites where you hired somebody to do writing, image generation, graphics, video editing, eventually these things are disappearing. They're being needed less and less, but it's still important to educate. And that's where I think education is so behind. See, we're talking about it. We're out here. We're not regulated. We're not taking any government grants. We don't have anybody to please, investors, alumni or whatever. We don't give a shit. We're just giving you what we're doing every day to get ahead, to cheat, to hack, to break the system, just like everybody else is. And guess who's even more on the forefront of all of that? The companies that you fanboy and fangirl over. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple right now, is, from what I hear, and again, who the fuck am I? I don't have a direct line to Tim Cook, but I read and I'm in the know. I'm a smart guy. I know how to filter through information and know whether it's bullshit or not. He's working on a pair of glasses, augmented reality glasses that you can wear all day long and just be constantly both using as actual sunglasses, but also doing all of the things that you do on the internet and scrolling just likely with your hand or potentially even with your thumb. I have no idea. Like, I don't know. They know. They're sitting in a room right there. They're all trying to figure out how to keep us on their apps all day, despite how bad it is for our brains. And what's even more ironic is the fact that there's all these ads that are like social media detox and all this shit on. So the only way that you can see these ads is on social media. You have to be on social media to see those ads. In those videos, the mindfulness ones and all this different stuff. Look, I don't care what side you fall on. I believe everything is like trying to have some mindfulness while also not being tech resistant. Don't be a dinosaur. This is my point to all of you millennials and boomers. Embrace this shit because it's happening with or without you. And if you can, like somebody said, I did a live yesterday, but it sucked. Well, talk about this shit. Talk to your boomers and your friends and people and your millennials and all this kind of stuff. Is there one in between boomers and millennials that I'm leaving out here? Please let me know if I am.
Gen X, I think.
I don't want to leave none of y'all out. All y'all old ass mother. If you're older, if you're me or older, you're old as shit. And we have to. Ryan's younger, so he's not. We have to not become dinosaurs, right? We have to understand, okay, Gen Xers, you have to take this information and understand that it is permeating every area of your life. The richest people in the world are making these things for you and I. They want us to be stuck to them all day long. So it's important to educate consumers about what's happening. Who are consumers? They're your 100 followers. And if you want to build trust, then go and do a live about exactly what we're talking about, because we're likely not reaching your followers here today. You need to go take this and build that trust and build that, that know, like, and trust factor, which will happen when you give them honest information and let them know you don't even have to like this shit. It's sort of like creating content. I don't like creating content. I don't like filming shit all the time. I don't like having the phone up and doing all this crap. I really don't. It's not my favorite thing. It's really not. I don't love it. But, and I can pick myself apart. I'm this, I'm that. I'm, too loud, too this, too pale, too... all the things, too gray, I mean, many of you saw me come on Wake Up Legendary a couple of months ago. I dyed my beard and I was like, this looks awesome. But I was just like, I can't do this like every week, like all the time, just trying to keep up. So I'm just like, fuck it. Just you embrace yourself and then you create the content. Because why? Because it's where we're at. It's what we're doing. It's to be relevant. There's people who are building massive audiences that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars in 2 to 4 years. And you're like, but I want to make money this month. I want to be rich now. Well, you don't deserve to be rich now because you aren't willing to do shit that you don't want to do. And that's what you have to do to get rich. You have to be willing to do shit that you don't want to do. And then it's boring and it sucks and it's uncomfortable. And it's like, that's what embracing all this tech stuff and learning AI and not letting AI make you dumb, still practicing, communicating, talking, and educating people and being honest with them, kind of like I am right now with you. Like, I don't love all this stuff. It's scary. It's overwhelming. There's always something new. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's just life. It's going with the flow. It's trying to see the coolness factor of all this kind of stuff and realizing that, you know what? Okay, I'm on the surfboard. I'm cruising. Oh shit, I fell off. Like, yo, that came out. I didn't hear about it or whatever. I'm behind the times. Crawl back on it. It's like, oh shit, I'm cruising. Okay, I got this. I'm creating some content. And you'll get better at it the more times you go out and feel the waves. And so we definitely went over our time today. I always intend to go about 20 minutes, and here we are at the 44-minute mark. So anything else, brother?
Oh man, you brought it home real good, man. I don't want to kill the momentum we got here.
All right. Well, as Kim Ballum says, be like a fart in the wind and get the hell out of here. Have a wonderful day. Be legendary, my friends. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Get with the affiliate. If somebody sent you here to watch this live or to check out what we're talking about, ask them for a link. Take our challenge. Of course, you can always go to legendarymarketer.com and you can click on things and buy things. Take our challenge. But, most likely you're either here, somebody sent you here, you found us. It's not hard to take our education, to find out who we are and what we do. And so take the initiative, take some action today. If you have a question, you can reach out to customer support, support@legendarymarketer.com. If you have a question for me, you can reach me at dave@legendarymarketer.com. If you're looking for something specific or you've heard us talk about something specific you feel like is a fit for you, then ask. Get in the middle of the boat. Dig in. We've got a mastermind that's coming up the first weekend of September, okay? Save the date and meet us there. Meet us in person. Build your circle, okay? Figure out what the hell you're going to do with your life when you grow up. I still am. All right, my friends. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Peace.
Peace.